Doyle fled the partnership because he feared Budd was effectively killing patients. Does that sound like any modern incarnation we know? We're getting to be quite a resounding list of capabilities now. How to see, how to prove, how to infiltrate, how to trace, disappear, systemize, fight, work information networks. But this is why this character is such a complex individual that captivates audiences for centuries. Sherlock Holmes isn't just a collection of skills. He is a temperament. Restless, obsessive, intellectually volatile, and at times reckless. Where does that come from? Brilliance doesn't arrive neatly packaged. Sometimes it comes with instability. Sometimes it comes with excess. So the next real Sherlock explains that side of Holmes better than anyone else, in my opinion, for the time. His name was George Turnavine Budd. George Turnavine Budd was a genius and a physician. Fast, intuitive, brilliant. He could diagnose patients in seconds, but he was reckless. Budd conducted extreme experiments, prescribed dangerous compounds, ignored ethical boundaries. At one point, he prescribed a so-called sedative.
You're drinking embalming fluid. Yes.
That was essentially heavy poison. And the man who knew him best, Conan Doyle. Not as a reader, but as a business partner. Doyle fled the partnership because he feared Budd was effectively killing patients. Does that sound like any modern incarnation we know? But that fear of Doyle's tells us everything about the man, and about the version of Holmes that he helped shape. George Turnavine Budd was a 19th century medical doctor operating at the edge of accepted science. He was intellectually gifted, the kind of mind that sees connections before others do, but he lacks restraint. Budd's approach to medicine wasn't cautious or methodical, it was impulsive. He trusted insight over protocol, speed over verification, experiment over ethics.
Are you sure he's not trying to kill me?
Of course not. He knows you're an idiot.
It's not stupidity, it is more unchecked confidence, in as diplomatic a way as I can explain it. And in medicine, that combination is very often lethal. Budd represents a kind of intelligence that moves faster than the guardrails designed to contain it. Doyle didn't just know Budd, he partnered with him. And that experience with such a person is going to leave a mark. So if you think of Holmes's manic energy, his disregard for authority, his disregard for convention, his willingness to take intellectual risks that others won't, that's Budd. But so is the warning. Holmes almost flirts with self-destruction. He experiments on himself. He oscillates between intensity and collapse. He pushes limits. Chemical, cognitive, emotional. I don't know that it's ever been explicitly stated, but there are comparisons that would argue that Budd didn't just inspire Holmes's brilliance, but he inspires the danger of brilliance. Budd's defining trait wasn't observation, it was speed. He could arrive at conclusions faster than his peers, which sounds kind of impressive when you think about it. But speed cuts both ways. Rapid cognition bypasses verification, it bypasses peer review, it bypasses ethical friction. Holmes demonstrates this tension constantly. When he's engaged, he is unstoppable. His board is destructive. That's not quaint quirkiness. That's a nervous system operating at high intensity. Budd shows us that intelligence without modulation becomes instability. This episode matters, in my opinion, because I'm aiming to reframe a myth. We love to romanticize the unstable genius, but Budd shows the cost. Brilliance without breaks doesn't just risk failure, it risks harm. And Holmes survives because Doyle gives him Watson.
What? Nothing, just welcome to London.
Gives him structure, gives him purpose, gives him boundaries. Budd didn't have any of that. And as the result was a man who frightened even his collaborators. Budd's lesson for modern roles is almost sobering. Speed must be regulated. Fast thinking is not always good thinking, especially under pressure. Lesson 2, insight requires constraint. Without systems, without oversight and feedback, intelligence turns inward, and inward intelligence is dangerous.
You okay?
How did I get here?
Lesson 3, your temperament is part of your skill. You don't just train methods, you train regulation. Holmes works because his volatility is contained. Budd shows us what happens when it isn't. Conan Doyle didn't dramatize Budd. He distanced himself from him. That tension alone tells us how close Budd came to crossing irreversible lines. This isn't a story of villainy. It's a story of brilliance without restraint. If the earlier real Sherlocks gave Holmes capability, George Turnavine Budd gave him edge, intensity, drive, danger, but also a warning. Intelligence without regulation, it doesn't elevate you. It consumes you. So next up, we're going to return to balance, because the final real Sherlock does not give Holmes volatility. He gives him control.